Hello. So, you're probably used to my YouTube videos usually having a second person, but everyone canceled on me, so I'm doing this solo today. No, I'm kidding. Today, you know, I got some coffee. I went to a Circle K, which is like a gas station convenience store, basically. I decided to get, one of their coffees, and it's one of those self-serve machines, and I was like, filled it up. Holy crap, are they sweet. I remember getting them in high school, and they weren't that sweet, or at least I thought. It felt like I was drinking caramel. It was insane. Anyway, wouldn't recommend. I am caffeinated, so that's good, but holy shit. Anyway, so what I wanted this video to be about was, in my video with Nav, I mentioned my first convention. I'll just play a little clip. In 2019, I was so depressed. I was like, fuck it, I guess I'll go to a furry convention. Now, you'll notice I said I was depressed, and I actually got a few people kind of asking me about that, and I'm someone who's very comfortable talking about that sort of thing. So I was like, you know what, screw it, I'll make a video about it. I'll kind of talk about what was going through my head prior, leading up to, and then after that convention. So yeah, to talk about my life leading up to that point, just to give some context, I was in a long-term relationship from the summer of 2017 to the summer of 2018. My partner at the time broke up with me. I'm sure everyone's kind of used to that. Being in a relationship, breaking up, sucks, right? But there's not much you can do. From August to December, me and my ex were trying to kind of stay as friends. What just ended up happening is, there was still some feelings between us. And come January of 2019, the two of us were like, oh, let's get back together. We can do this again. We still like each other. So we got back together for about a week. And then they broke up with me again. And that kind of crushed me. The difficulty with something like that is when you're with someone for that long, when you're with someone for over a year, you kind of start to, you put all your time and effort into this person. And even though I had friends, I had family who did still care about me, I hadn't spoken to them on the same level I had spoken to my partner. And so what ended up happening was I put like all of my eggs in one basket, and no one knew me anymore. It became a case where I couldn't just talk to people because the only person I spoke to was my partner, who wasn't in my life anymore. Despite all these people around me being so supportive, I felt like I was alone. My days just became kind of flip-flopping between not wanting to exist anymore. And I don't mean that in the sense of like, it was more so I wish I could just shut my eyes. 6 months pass and I'm not sad anymore. So I went from just feeling nothing at all and wanting to sleep all the time and not do anything to realizing the emotional state that I was in and then having a panic attack. So I would kind of flip-flop back and forth between feeling nothing and then feeling everything all at once. So for the entire month of January and February were probably the worst months of my life. We got to the point where come March of 2019, there was a convention happening and I was just like, fuck it, there's a furry convention happening in my city. I'll go to it. So I didn't need to pay for a hotel. I didn't need to pay for transportation. I could literally just walk there. That's how close it was to where I live. It was awesome. So I was like, screw it. I'll get the highest tier badge for like no reason other than because spending money feels good. And when you feel like shit, you're like, fuck it, let's spend $300 on a furry convention, right? Walking in on the first day was weird. My entire experience with furries had been on the internet. So I went to the registration line and I walked to the back of it and I just saw all these people, they had ears, they had tails, and I felt uncomfortable. I'm not used to this. This isn't how I had expressed myself. This was like, basically I felt the way that anti-furries feel, where it's like, ooh, it's weird. And so I lined up and I was kind of uncomfortable, and there were some people in front of me that were kind of talking amongst each other and they seemed really chill. I don't remember what they said. I think they said something about, it's like, oh, there's this place nearby for food. And living in that city, I was like, oh, I live here. I know where that is. I can show you guys. And so then I started talking to them. I got my registration, and then it made me realize how nice furries are. Just the fact that these people in front of me in line, I could just be like, oh, hey, I live in the city. Like, I can tell you where this is. And they're like, yeah, sure, let's all go get food together. I just think it's so awesome. Just like the fact that I went to this place feeling really crappy, and then immediately random people who have no idea who I am were like, yeah, no, let's get food together. Let's get lunch. Let's hang out. I don't know who you are, but we're both furries, and that just felt awesome. And what's notable about this convention was that there was a guest of honor. Every con has that, but this year was Jib Cody. You've probably seen his animations if you're anywhere involved in the furry community. He had a really cool panel where it was him talking about his experience with the fandom. And I think for my first con, this was probably one of the best things to see, where he talked about his roommates don't know that he's a furry. He keeps that very secret because he knows that they'll find it weird. And he kind of talked about how shitty that is, how like something that makes him so happy is something that he has to hide. And I know that doesn't really mirror my situation very well, but it was one of those things where it kind of made me feel like I wasn't alone. Everyone at this convention has demons, has things they're dealing with in their head or in their personal life. But you can go to this convention for 4 days and forget about all of it and just be an animal. And it's something you can't get anywhere else. It's truly a unique experience. Going into this con, I thought fursuits were weird, which is hilarious, seeing seeing what you're seeing, right? But I thought fursuits made me uncomfortable. When I looked at them, I was like, ugh, like uncanny valley, right? The second I saw one fursuit, immediately I was like, this is the place for me. Immediately when I saw one, I was like, this is great. And I made it my mission to take as many photos with fursuiters as I could. I ended up taking probably about 100. This convention put me in a position where I could go up to people and be like, hey, what's your name? Let's take a photo together. Where are you headed? And they'd be like, oh, I'm going here. Come with me. And like just how accepting it all was. Going into this convention, I don't want to say that I didn't have any friends, because I did, but none of them were furries. Once I left this convention, I met so many people that are now still my friends. I wasn't super comfortable in my own skin in regards to my sexuality. I still don't know what I am. I find labeling myself very difficult. I find that queer is the best way to describe it. When it comes to my gender, I'm like, oh, I can kind of dress however I want. When it comes to sexuality, I'm like, oh, if I find you attractive. There's no pattern to any of it. I wasn't very comfortable with my sexuality, not because I had to hide it, just because when I told people that, oh, I was gay, I was bi, I was pan, I was changing like every day, I didn't feel in a position where I could be like confidently one thing and wave a flag that matches my sexuality. That's not something that I could really do. Going to this convention like gave me sort of a support group. I met so many people that made me confident in my own skin because I left with this support network that I didn't have before. It immediately changed my mood. These 4 days, it was insane. I had the worst 2 months of my life followed by probably the best month of my life. It was surreal, to say the least. Just the fact that I could feel so shitty and then go somewhere and then just immediately feel so amazing. And that's why I love being a furry. That's why I love going to conventions. Even though I was depressed, during those months, I don't know if it was depression. I don't know what it was because I never got it diagnosed. I never got in contact with a therapist. So I don't know what it would have been diagnosed as. I just know that I was in such a shitty place, and then I went to this convention, and then I was in the best place mentally and physically. Fuck it, that convention, best place on earth for that weekend. Being a furry and going to these conventions, wild. Honestly, even if you're not a furry, go to a convention. It's a place that you can go to where you don't have to fake any part of yourself. It's somewhere where you can go there and know that someone else is gonna be weirder than you. And that's a good thing. That's the fact that I can step into a room of people and learn about someone who has like such a intense passion for just something I've never heard of is awesome. I can't get over it. Furries are great. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to make a video like this. I wanted to just kind of explain why I made that comment in the video with Nav where I said I was depressed until I went to a con. Anyway, that's the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you really enjoyed hearing about how my first furry convention went, because for me going there, it was great. And as always, you can follow me on Instagram or Twitter. This was Jesse the Queer Deer, and I thank you very much for watching. Bye!